I bet that there's gonna be people that will read the description to this video and are gonna see the avatar, well, the thumbnail and title, and they're gonna have a complete meltdown. Save your meltdown until after you hear what I have to say. The number one starting point for hate, violence, and polarization is the fact that we do not hear one another. We don't float in the same circles, and social media and SEO has made it easier and easier to shut off any kind of content that you don't like, that doesn't align with your views, that is just not from the circle that you want to see. And as such, it is harder and harder to hear voices that have an opinion that are contrary to yours. Today, what we're gonna be doing is we're gonna be taking any kind of hatred and fear-mongering, and we're just gonna hold a mirror up to it. So please bear with me while we do just that. To everyone that is entirely new, you have probably clicked into the kind of video that you didn't actually expect to click into. I'm gonna ask you not to click away. You don't tend to hear people that aren't from your background. So this time, maybe just take the time to listen. If I told you that somebody has sold their soul to Jesus, how would you feel about that? Just as a statement. What if I rephrased the statement? What if I said that they had taken Jesus into their heart? Or in the case of nuns, that they're married to Jesus. Does that suddenly sound a lot more acceptable? Like a lot more normal? It is exactly what we expect. It is what you normally see, isn't it? There isn't that much difference between the two statements that I just used. To walk with Jesus, to get into Jesus's domain, to be accepted, and to accept Jesus into your heart, you're probably gonna wanna do a bit more than just say that you have accepted Jesus. I know that there's some beliefs that say that all you need to do is accept Jesus. But didn't Jesus have a bit of a wider message than just accepting Jesus? Didn't he have something to say about loving thy neighbor and turning the other cheek and all of the kind of other things that he preached, including actually assaulting a temple for making religion rather commercialized? Wasn't Jesus kind of a rebel of his time? Didn't he say to only cast stones if if you're entirely sin-free and are pretty sure that nobody else would ever cast a stone on you? To accept Jesus into your heart and to walk with Jesus, you probably want to do a bit more than just say that you accept Jesus into your heart. That we can call that a start. So now take that same attitude and apply it to something different. Once again, I'm gonna not give out too much about myself here, but just take that and apply it to, they have sold their soul to the devil. If to accept Jesus into your heart, you have to do a bit more than just say that. If you have to actually walk with Jesus, why do you believe that a singular sentence is gonna do absolutely anything? And the second point to investigate is, what do you think is the devil? Without a definition of what is the devil, without encapsulating the devil as something concrete, how would that be any different than saying, I sold my soul to Sonic? Except imagine that you had no concept of what was Sonic, of what is Sonic. I sold my soul to the big bad? How can you sell your soul to the big bad without defining the big bad? You need to find the big bad in order to make a proclamation of faith, should you not? What do we normally put as the seat of the devil? Satan? Well, there are many Satans. There are a lot more than one Satan. And if we take what the Bible could call as the Satan, we're probably talking about Samael, which is the Satan of Satans, which is actually an angel. If you were to encapsulate Samael, he passes judgment and he tempts those that are already in opposition and in conflict. It's like selling yourself to a judge. And I'm also pretty sure that Samael is an angel of death and very firmly rooted in Christian beliefs. Therefore, the followers of Samael are probably walking with you, not against you. Lucifer? Well, the name Lucifer kind of denotes Venus in the morning. It got into the Bible with a bit of a spelling mistake, capitalization. Venus of the morning, in the morning, has a lot of very beautiful connotations, like hope. It is why Jesus also calls himself the bright morning star. It is a beautiful thing. And in that verse in particular, they're describing a Babylonian king that has fallen. O bright star of morning, how have you fallen? So that name already doesn't belong there. But let's take other associations with Lucifer. Light. In some cultures, protection and healing. Because once again, the bright morning star is a very beautiful association. We have put knowledge in there, and you could see it as enlightenment. To take the light within yourself, to know thyself, to shine from within. The one that has sold their soul to Lucifer, they would probably be a man of knowledge, or an optimistic person seeking hope. or someone that wants to shine a light to their community. The actions that would align with those would be actions that are bringing in education and enlightenment and acceptance and lifting up the ones that are down below. And I don't know about you, but that is beautiful imagery. It isn't about Hollywood. It isn't about being rich. It isn't about getting fame. When people say that musicians have sold their soul to the devil, they normally mean that they have exchanged their creativity for a very binding earthly contract with a music studio. They don't tend to literally mean that they have contacted the symbol of enlightenment, or that they're the opposer of opposers, that they stand there as a judge. What else could we call the devil? Oh, there are many names. How about Beelzebub? Beelzebub. It's Lord of the Flies, or all that flies, or of heavenly abode. Did you know that the symbol of the fly used to be seen as a symbol of healing? That the way that that name enters into the Bible is to ask if the ritual of exorcism was done in the name of Beelzebub, because it was another god of a different location that specialized in exorcisms and healing. And sure, flies can also bring the disease, because what takes can also give, and what gives can also take. It's a push and pull thing. If you're connected to one strand, one side of a coin, surely you also hold the other. Is that our devil? Is it the doctors, the nurses, or anyone else that would be well aligned to walk with healing? Is that our devil? Or is it Azazel, the scapegoat? Would you consider the scapegoat to be the devil, the thing that takes our sins away, the thing that takes on our burdens so that we might walk without them? The thing that gets sacrificed in some traditions in exchange of us instead of us. The thing that we give all of our bad feelings and bad luck to. Is that the devil? So here's the thing. There will be 1,000,001 videos that are talking about religions that they have not experienced or been part of. How I have escaped the big satanic cult. How I have been an occultist. And now I have found God. And I have found Jesus. And I have found the light. And a lot of the things that those videos will have in common is that the person in them is a paid actor. I'm not a paid actor. I just probably have a faith that doesn't align with yours. It doesn't actually mean that we're that different as people. It does not actually mean that you have not passed people like me on the street before, that they're not part of your libraries, your hospitals, your schools, that your accountant couldn't be a devil worshiper. This is also not a call for a witch hunt. It is a call for understanding. It is an outreach. And a lot of people will misinterpret this. They will see the thumbnail. They're going to see the description. And they're going to have a very negative reaction to me because it seems like this video is not me, right? And then there are other people, the ones that will come in without the want to understand. The ones that will come in seeking to validate their own beliefs and their own hatred for others. And the reason to push somebody away just because your religion tells you that if they are of a different religion, they're not your friend. And these people, they will also get very mad and upset that this was not what they have signed up for. That this was not what they wanted. That this was not what they're looking for. But aren't those moments also filled with God? Isn't God leading you the whole time? So perhaps it is time to stop actively preaching against other people. Because that's what you're doing. You're not preaching against this big bad that's trying to seduce your children, that's trying to take your loved ones away, that has this big conspiracy theory to keep you confined and keep you poor, and there isn't some sort of magical them that's working against you. It's all people. People like you. People that also have families. They have pets. They have a heart. They have things that they love and that they hate. And those things you're not gonna see on their faces when you're passing them on the street. I have a very marketable appearance because my sense of style kinda aligned with my spirituality sort of well, but a lot of people are actually not the walking stereotype. And clothes are just that. There will be people looking gothy. They're sitting in churches. There are gonna be people looking pastel. They're praying to the gods that you do not know. The gods that are very much not yours. And the gods that you don't want to know because your religion calls them the devil. But that's all there is. Even when somebody's God represents an area that you can't understand, and that you can't understand the want to align with said God. What about chthonic gods? Gods of the earth. Gods responsible for death and life. Gods responsible for the sad bits of life, such as war, famine, pestilence, death in childbirth. This is as against life as it can be if you see the small picture. If you only see us and what's good for us, and you entirely don't care about the rest of nature and the rest of surroundings. When I hope that when we start to completely avoid death by disease, death by starvation, death by childbirth, death in childhood, death from genetic diseases, I hope that by that point we also understand the responsibility that is on our shoulders to not overconsume, to not exhaust our planet, to not reproduce like we're just rabbits set free. That we really do understand how to keep our population even and kind. Kind not only to us, but kind to animals and kind to nature and kind to what we're doing and what we're not. I truly do believe that by the time that we conquer natural disasters, illnesses, and other really, really sad events, when all of that will go to the wayside, we will be a lot better at controlling ourselves And I truly do optimistically believe that this is precisely where we're moving. The god of death, the god of illness, the god of war and pestilence and starvation, and all of the other sad bits is just as part of life as life itself. It's just as part of life as birth and beauty and love and everything joyful. And that might be very, very, very hard to wrap your head around you, because this is not something that's beneficial to us. But by the time that it is time to phase that out, we'll have to be different people. And we'll have to do different kind of things. We can't just be ones that create, I forget what it's called, but I do know that there is one branch of religion that also includes to populating the world with arrows for God and having as many children as you can. And honestly, if we all had 19 children, the planet probably wouldn't stand or wait for all that long. Starvation is bound to become a problem, and that's where God of starvation comes in. It is part of the whole, and the whole reacts to us and we react to the whole. I understand that that was a very, very difficult thing to understand and to listen to. It is a concept that we'll have to grasp as humanity progresses, but do remember that our pantheons are moving with us. So, until it is part of the whole, it is a necessary part of the whole. And the people that do follow death-related deities, the people that do align with death very well, your funeral directors, they're also really, really kind people. And they also love life. They're not out there stabbing bunnies and taking away all of your rainbows and putting gray clouds in the sky. There are people that are very, very connected with the part of the wheel that's as necessary as the parts of the wheel that brings us joy. Because it's all part of the whole. And if you're worshipping a god, that's one. A god that makes everything. A god that is everything. A god that claims to be the center of the universe, to be the universe itself, and the one that starts and ends it all. He is the god of bad things as much as he is the god of good things. So, when you see somebody very, very much aligned with something that you consider bad, perhaps you should understand it a little. One day, perhaps there will be no bad. But we're not gonna get there by being ignorant to what we believe to be bad. We're gonna get there through strife and through knowledge and through full understanding of what our actions are, why they're taken, why they're not taken, what self-control is, how to solve differences between one another. The way that we're not gonna get there is by never, ever, ever seeing content from one another. By isolating into our tiny little communities and by preaching against them, whatever them is. Insert whatever you want into them. Oh, those atheist Satanists. Oh, Satan. Oh, it's the devil. Oh, it's the heathen pagans. It is the foreigner. It is the other. The other is to blame. Let's never stand there and have a conversation and try to understand one another. Let's just draw a very, very strict line of it is us against them. And this is the kind of mentality that I had seen quite a lot in recent years. The world has been very not calm. Let's put it this way. And that's the kind of mentality that I don't want to be a part of spreading. Instead, if I can, I want us to lay those tiny little bridges between one another to extend understanding. To be okay with standing on the fence sometimes without taking a very, very polarizing position where it's my way or the highway and your way has no part of mine. You're not allowed in because it is us versus them. I don't want to be a part of that. So this may be a fool's errand, but I'm gonna try not to be a part of that. This is probably not the last video that I'm gonna release that's like this. And to any of my subscribers that had a panic attack from the thumbnail or the description, I'm sorry. But I hope that the meaning of the video is understood without me having to introduce myself. To any of the passerbys that have clicked in, that have actually still been watching 26 minutes on with me ramble on. I am the other. I am part of those people that you probably warned against. The ones that actors try to pretend to be. I am a spooky witch. I am a pagan. I am a Luciferian, to be exact. And I write about demon worship, demonolatry. Those are subjects as taboo as they make them. But you took the time out of your day to listen to me. And I thank you for that. Perhaps this won't resonate with a lot of people. Perhaps this is a complete fool's errand. But if I could turn against at least one person from having a hard-line stance that there is a them that they should hate, that there is a them that they should be against, that there is a them that they should fear, then this video accomplished all that it had to accomplish. Because we're all spiritual. We're all on our path. We're all going wherever we want to go, and sun shines on more than just one direction. If you're in your direction because of fear, I would put a stop to it. I would really investigate it. Probably talk to somebody, because that's really, really, really not healthy. I cannot imagine living in fear and stress over a belief. If you're causing that fear in somebody else by specifically making hard-line stance against other people, because it's never just ideas, it is people. And this goes for more than just other religions. But I'll let you figure that out on your own. All of us do. All of us figures things out on our own. Perhaps think about what your sentences and what your actions actually do to those people, because it doesn't exactly endear them to you. It doesn't make them think that they're gonna be accepted and loved within your circle. It others them, it drives them away, it puts that hard line in the sand, and it makes the divide grow larger and larger until all understanding is lost. Until there's violence. Until your hatred can be approved or vindicated. by what eventually happens and is birthed by said hatred. You don't ever want it to get there, so perhaps start building bridges. Not because you want another person to stand with you in particular, to be like you, to join you, to be part of your group, because only your group is correct, but because you understand them as people. You understand them as human, and you understand the journey that they're on, because it's the same journey that you're on. You're all going through life. You're all living, smiling, falling in love, losing, getting sick, being down, having the support of your family or lacking the support of your family, having children, making families, getting pets, building houses. All that is part of life is experienced by everybody that's part of life and that's living. You're not alone in your troubles. You never were. So perhaps don't bring in hard lines based on a specific point of another person that you just can't agree with because your religion is not the same. And this goes for a lot of other things. Sex, skin color, sexual orientation. It's a lesson in empathy, I think. I hope that at least somebody has found this message helpful. And for any atheists, I'm sorry for being into all of the woo-woo and definitely scaring you from my channel more than once. The message, in a way, is the same, that we're all going through the same life. It doesn't matter what we think happens after it ends. We're here now. I am here the same way that you're here, the same way that a person that doesn't share either of our faiths is here. We're all here, so let's maybe make the best of it. This is probably not the last video of this kind. I do have to admit that I have this very, very devious idea to infiltrate the algorithm a little bit. Sorry if that is clickbaity, because it is. But I don't otherwise know how can we ever bring down the divide if we don't resort to clickbaity titles and actually coming into each other's spaces and waving from time to time, saying hello, talking about things, introducing ourselves, having a discussion, and seeing the humanity within ourselves and within others. I think if we don't ever do that, then the divide will always be there. And social media actually made this worse. You would think that it would have opened up the world, right? We're exposed to so many different ideas, so many things that are happening that are not even in our region, but in reality, the algorithms only show the kind of things that you have already been interacting with, the kind of things that you're searching. And if there is nobody that is sticking their hand into the opposite algorithm and waving hello, then the person that is following the algorithm will never even know that another side has ever existed. I don't suggest going out and preaching to people, that's kind of gross. But do reach out sometimes. Do say hello. Do try to understand, do try to have conversations, because that's how human connections are formed. That's how communities fix and mend themselves. That's how we achieve coexistence instead of whatever the heck kind of bullshit that is happening around us. And I do know why negative interactions sell even better than positive interactions, because if you're gonna tell people that everything is doom and gloom and that the world is collapsing, they're gonna make a lot more tweets. Fights or great engagement, which drives traffic to social media platforms. Videos that are all happy feels do not. So, a lot of corporations benefit from the divide being there, but it doesn't mean that you do. Actually, a lot of people feel a lot of anxiety over social media and over the kind of arguments that they tend to have on it. It is a conscious effort to reduce that. It is a conscious effort to build the kind of world that we want to see that doesn't have it. Because it's a lot easier to find it than to try to exist without it. And that's the note that I'm gonna leave on. I'm very, very sorry if this whole rant did not answer your questions to what is it like having sold your soul to the devil. So let me just put it this way. To sum up the video, the devil is more than one thing. It entirely depends on what the person calls the devil. 2, 99% of the times, absolutely nothing, because it's more than just saying a word, right? It is actually actively engaging with spirituality. You shouldn't actually, just fear words. Words and actions kind of have to align to see where your heart goes, to belong in a spirituality, and therefore to follow it. And for the 1% that is more than just nothing, oftentimes they're following entities that represent concepts that you can actually probably also understand and agree with. That person's spirituality might be a bit queer and might be a bit woo-woo from the looks of you, because there isn't a specific one book that just says that this is this and this is how it's supposed to go. As such, the people that are also attracted to those kind of spaces tend to be already othered people. Sometimes they tend to be people suffering from mental illness, which is horrible in themselves, because it's gonna kind of prevent them from really being spiritual, because it's very hard to separate what is you and what is your mental illness. It's the kind of person that needs help. It's gonna be people with a lot of trauma that have already been through a lot of things. And those kind of people, they tend to find peace in those corners, those little edges with entities that you can't imagine walking or practicing with. In the end, the people that actually do take the practice seriously with whatever entity that they're walking with, they're gonna heavily be investigating the concept that that entity represents. And they're gonna be imagining good things for their own afterlife, just like you're hopefully imagining good things for yours. If you're not, if your whole belief system is fear-driven, that is definitely something to take up to a therapist. And that is definitely something to think about, because living in fear, I cannot stress this enough, living in fear is very, very, very unhealthy. So I am very, very sorry for rambling for such a long time. You can sum up this video in the last couple of minutes. But if you actually survived through all of this ramble, thank you. Thank you for granting me time. And I hope that you're gonna do so again. I'm gonna make these kind of videos from time to time, and they're gonna really fall on almost troll-like category, because once again, the thumbnail and the name of the video, it might be a bit clickbaity, but it is the only way to reach spaces that have already closed off and that have already fallen into the rabbit hole of real, genuine fear. The ones that really do see other people as significant danger, and that's just not a great way of coexisting, nor a very, very happy way to live. Other than that, I mostly do gaming here. You can see quite a lot of Daggerfall on my channel at the moment. I'm gonna be doing retro gaming. Don't worry, I'm not gonna corrupt your kids. Majority of my audience are way above the age of kids. They're full-on adults, mostly just 30-year-olds reminiscing about their own childhood or visiting some older games for the first time together. It is not the kind of thing that kids tend to be really into. I think that filters by itself, together with some of my games, are marked as for mature audiences only. So I am not here to pull on anyone's hand and be like, hey, join my spirituality. You're not gonna like find little Timmy there watching a playthrough of Morrowind going, maybe Satanism is the right idea for me. If little Timmy ever enters those kind of thoughts, it's gonna come directly from little Timmy. It's not gonna come from me. So please, don't fear that. And thank you for being here, genuinely. And I'm gonna see you the next time, hopefully. If you want to, leave a like and subscribe. If you don't. If you have a friend who might benefit from this video, please send them. If you're gonna post them in any kind of weird, hyper-religious forums, I don't mind. Maybe you're gonna find one or two people that are actually gonna be like, yeah, maybe, you know, hating a whole bunch of other people is not a very sane way to live. I'm so sorry. I have absolutely nothing against the people that do live with very closed ideas, because we're all guilty for bubbling. So if you wanna have a conversation with me that doesn't just devolve into please accept Jesus, then please do. If you're gonna leave comments like, thank the Lord you are saved on this video, I'm gonna assume that you're playing along with the whole topic. If you're gonna make very, very reactionary comments of, hey, Myrta, I really, really trusted you, how can you abandon your religion? I did not, and you did not watch the video. So I'm gonna see you later down this week with some more Daggerfall. And later on, you're also gonna see things like my review of Daggerfall, perhaps my thoughts about retro games. I have like a couple of thoughts floating around there, but from time to time, you're gonna see a video like this. Don't freak out, okay? And thank you for being here, and see you the next time. Toodaloo.